Hey everybody, if you're looking for ways to increase those e-commerce website sales this year, you're going to want to listen up. And by the way, it's not just for e-com, lead gen sites can dominate this too. And if you believe that content is still the reigning champ, you're going to want to add this particular SEO strategy to the mix because it's not only going to increase those keyword ranking opportunities, it's going to increase those conversion rates as well. All right, let's go. Okay, so let's get started. Today we're going to talk about something called passage ranking. And passage ranking is going to be a SEO factor here in 2021. We believe that it's being rolled out to some extent currently and should be fully rolled out by the end of the year. And this creates a massive opportunity for people that write content on their websites. So not just e-commerce websites, but lead gen websites, any website where you're consistently putting out content or you write content on your site. So what passage ranking is it's a factor, but it's also something that is part of Google's ongoing effort towards language understanding research. So language understanding research helps deliver more relevant results to people doing searches on Google. Google likes to make the user experience for people that search on their engine better over time. And this is another step towards that. And one of the big, and this has been going on for a while, the big AI technology behind a lot of what Google does to understand humans better is called BERT. Now, BERT stands for Bidirectional Encoder Representations. I'm not going to go into what exactly that means and how it works. You can Google that. It's BERT, and there's plenty of information around it. But Google's been using BERT for a long time now, and it's used in almost every English language query that happens on Google currently, and it contributes to a lot of Google's ability to find useful, relevant searches. Passage ranking is another step towards that. Google is trying to get better, and so passage ranking creates another opportunity to be even more granular and more relevant. So how Google defines passage ranking is it indexes, stores, and receives passages or sections of a web page to deliver more detailed, relevant search results for specific queries. And the idea behind it is that in the past, web pages have been relevant for the general idea of the entire page. But when you look at content, and let's just say there's different sections in there, there's subtopics or sub-ideas that are very relevant to what people are searching. Now Google can actually extract those and serve those in a way that is useful for people that need that information. And as you see here on the right, it looks kind of like a featured snippet. If you don't know what a featured snippet is, I'm sure you've seen it. That's where you type something into Google and it serves like kind of slightly more bolded text to answer that specific question. It's going to look like that, but they are not featured snippets. Google's been very clear about this. They're not featured snippets. It uses a completely different system. And it's good because even featured snippets in the past would look for very specific types of queries or very specific types of answers. This is going to be indexing all content and looking for relevancy across all pages and all sections eventually. So it's good stuff. Now, this is going to be beneficial to e-commerce sites that are struggling to rank for certain keywords. And I wanted to say that, a lot of what's happening here is going to be more relevant to, longer tail terms. But for e-commerce stores or any websites, it's going to be really good to have insightful FAQ pages. It's also going to encourage sites to generate more informative long form content like within their blog pages and resource pages that convert. I also want to say that for people that are worried about this being a factor for them in terms of it hurting their rankings, Google says it's not going to affect any existing rankings. And We think that's because for the more higher volume terms that are out there, for the terms that are more bigger general ideas, there's plenty of stuff that ranks for that. And so the sites that are currently ranking for that will continue to rank for that in the future. Now, why should you care about passage ranking? So I just want to start off by saying I personally think, and now Google hasn't said this, and I haven't heard this anywhere, I personally think that eventually passage ranking is going to replace featured snippets, just in terms of it being a more robust program from Google. I think that that's where it's going. Now, we do know that it's going to be launching as an SEO ranking signal in 2021. I think it's going to start off early, like most of their rollouts do, and then it's going to be rolled out more throughout the year. And what they're projecting is that initially only about 7% of queries will be affected. Again, those are going to be longer tail terms. Now, there's opportunities in there. It creates opportunities for us to rank if certain passages are relevant to a common query. Now, if we can rank for multiple things, whereas a page before was only able to rank for the general idea of a page, and now we can write longer form content and have that page be relevant for 3, 4, 5, 10 different things, that's going to create a serious opportunity. But it definitely incentivizes people to write longer tail content. Now, longer form content is going to allow creators to dive deeper into their craft, into their ideas, which, were previously relevant, but they weren't represented, within the page titles or the headers or the tags or in rankings. So they weren't represented in SERPs. And long tail queries tend to convert better than high volume keywords, because if someone's going through the trouble to type in something more specific, the idea is that they are kind of trying to grab onto something that they know they're looking for. And that's one of the things that Google is always trying to solve. That's the whole point of BERT. So, by being relevant for longer tail keywords and queries and semantic type search, and by being informative for those types of queries, you stand to convert more products or more sales or more leads by being the supplier of that information. So, higher conversion rates for passage ranking in SERPs is going to be a huge win and an opportunity. We'll talk about how to capitalize on that more near the end of this video. Now, optimizing for passage ranking is not going to be that difficult. In fact, it's not going to be a lot more than what you've currently been doing if you've been writing content. I think one of the key things is that we're writing more long form content so that there's more opportunities to rank. For my e-commerce peeps out there, definitely I want to throw a disclaimer out there. Google has come out and said, don't think about writing long form content on your category and product pages, because it's, you might do more harm to an e-commerce product page or category page than trying to write long form content on, let's say, a blog post or a resource page. So, when we write this stuff, we want to write it, for the sake of providing value to people that are reading it, not just to throw a bunch of content into category and product pages. I think content on category and product pages is great. I think it's very helpful, especially when people can answer those questions without having to call up or go look somewhere else to find the answer to that question before making a purchase. But doing it for the sake of SEO is probably not the way to think about it. Google has come out and said that long form content has long performed short form in terms of conversion rates, but also because in general, long form content tends to be more of a resource for people and other publishers. It actually gets more backlinks for SEO. So that is something that people are more likely to backlink to it when it's not on a page that's trying to make a sale. Now we'll talk about how to capitalize on it, and that I might have some contradicting points there, but it's really up to you and your taste of how you want to integrate those strategies. So continuing to optimize, try to cover as many topics or ideas under a central focus. You don't want to have just random stuff thrown into a single page. Google's really good at looking at that. Are all of these things relevant? Take these various topics, organize them into different sections, use identifying tags or headings to call out each section. Google hasn't formally said what they're going to do to distinguish different sections, but we can assume that it's going to have something to do with title tag, or I'm sorry, header tags, H1 tags, H2 tags, and the content within those sections. There's not much else to optimize for. And then, one thing you can do is, you can use semantic language whenever possible, but I think, try to aim for engaging, informative content, something that's conversational. Maybe there's images and videos included in there. All of these things are going to help drive the entire focus of that one section. And so each section can then be construed as like a mini sub page for Google to index and then of course rank for you. Oh, look at that, we're here already. So how to capitalize for e-commerce. Just really quickly, start by doing your research. Know what you're going to talk about. Have a plan when you're going into it. Research questions that are related to your keyword. Talk to your customer service people. Find out what kind of questions they're being asked. You can do a search on a Google search results page for people also ask and find questions and ideas for topics to think about. Think about granularity. Don't think about big questions. Think about granular questions that would be under a bigger topic. And then you can also use tools like BuzzSumo or a tool called UseTopic, which I just recently started using, and it's great to help brainstorm content ideas and discussional type ideas for content. Create FAQ style content around products. So this is where we get into the monetization part, is that you want to bring your products into the fold. And I think most good e-commerce stores do that. They will talk about or feature some kind of product within the blog at some point. You don't want to overly do it because you don't want it to come off too salesy. But products, people have questions about products. Put those questions around those products, and then you can rank for those. You can even do that on, I wouldn't overdo it, but you could do that on product pages as well. And then you can also add in call to actions. You can embed your products around the content. Call to actions can go to product pages or category pages, or for lead gen sites, it could be a quote form. But if people are reading the content, the idea is that not just for passage ranking, but for any content, you could be doing these things to capitalize on people that are looking at the content. So a quote from Dan Cromar from our SEO team. He says, "This is a big step on Google's part toward rewarding actual good content instead of just well-optimized content. And that benefits users, webmasters, and SEOs, pretty much anyone who uses Google." So I think, in the long term, this is going to be really huge. I think the people that get in first and have better content around the smaller subtopics, and there's going to be really no limit to it, they're going to win. And obviously Dan is happy about this. You can see in his picture. This is a picture from his wedding day last week. And that's his new bride in the background, and they're having the time of their life, not thinking about SEO, but it's the only picture I had of him, and he doesn't know that he's being thrown in this video. So Mr. Cromar, You are welcome. Cassie, I'm sorry. All right, so just to wrap up, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you have questions or ideas, please leave those down in the comments below. We put all of the resources used to make this video just down below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow me to make sure that you're notified the next time we put out something helpful like agency strategies or tips so that you can up your game. All right, I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.